Hi guys, Wheelie here. I'm going to show you a few options for threading yarn on a needle and a couple of gadgets you can buy to help with the job. I'm using Motivera Monkey yarn, which is a super bulky yarn, but you can definitely use these methods for finer yarn too, and I'll give you some tips so you'll know which method will best suit the yarn and needle you actually have. For the first method, you will need a metal needle, so if you only have a plastic needle, skip ahead to the next one. I'd also suggest skipping ahead if you're trying to thread a 100% cotton yarn, as this doesn't work so well with cotton. Hold your needle, take the yarn and put it over the needle and fold it over so you're creating a crease. Use a little bit of pressure. Hold onto that with your thumb and forefinger so there's just a little bit of it peeking out. Keep holding onto the yarn but slide the needle out so there's just a little bit of the yarn above my fingers. Pop the needle on top of that, wriggle it around so it goes through the eye of the needle. I'll let go so you can see what I'm doing. There, threaded. Method 2 works with all types of yarn and both plastic and metal needles. You'll need a pair of scissors and a scrap of paper. Start by cutting a shape out of your paper. I'm using an old envelope, so I just want one layer of the envelope. I like to cut a triangle just because it's an easy shape to cut. A thinner triangle or maybe a long thin rectangle could work well for a needle with a smaller eye. Fold the little bit of paper roughly in half. This isn't origami, it doesn't have to be perfect halves, but the crease does need to be nice and sharp and clear, so use your fingernails if you have them. Open it up and pop the yarn inside. Close it to cover the yarn and then pass the paper through the eye of the needle. And that's it. That method will work just as well with a plastic needle. My plastic needle has a different sized eye to this metal one I just used, but I can still make this triangle work. I'll show you so you can see that it's not too crucial what shape you cut. When you pop your yarn into your little paper shape, do make sure that not too much of your yarn is poking out the end, or that will get in the way when you're threading the paper. So you can see the paper is too big to actually fit through the eye of the needle, but I can still pull the yarn through, and then once the yarn is through, I can fold the paper a little bit and pull it through too, just like that. Threaded. Method 3 works with all types of yarn, and you can use a plastic or metal needle. You will need some sewing thread. Cut yourself a piece of thread that's roughly 10 centimeters or 4 inches long. It's not crucial, you just don't want a massively long piece of thread. This will do the trick. I lay the thread on my table, put the yarn on top of it, then pick up the two ends of the thread, try to hold them so they're lined up nicely, then thread both of those cut ends of thread through my yarn needle. It's nice and easy because even a small yarn needle or a tapestry needle is big compared to sewing thread. Can you see that's captured the yarn? Now I can pull on those two cut ends of thread and the yarn goes through the needle. But if you're having real trouble threading needles, there are some other options. You've probably seen something like this before. It's a needle threader. They're not great with yarn though. I've broken a few, so I know what I'm talking about. This wire is really thin and it snaps off the threader easily. But this is a yarn threader. They're a bit sturdier. They're not cheap, but they do work. You insert them into your needle like this. Put the yarn through the hole in the threader. You may need to twist the yarn to form a slight point or fold it over and thread the fold like I did in the first method for threading a needle. Then you pull the threader out of the needle and ta-da, it's threaded. Another option is a fancy needle. I bought some of these recently. They're called latch hook eye needles. They're designed for threading multiply and bulky yarns. The idea is you open up the eye of the needle and put the yarn in through the gap, then close the gap. I thought I'd love them, but I found they're not as easy to use as I'd have liked. If you have fingernails, they're easy enough to open up. Just flip this bit out, then put the yarn in. It's not difficult to put the yarn in, but I worry that thicker yarn could split, so you'd have to be cautious, and then close the latch. And this is the bit I struggle with. I suggest using something the way you'd use a thimble to protect your fingers, because it takes a bit of strength to close the latch again, and you can see it's marking my fingers. So if you have trouble with your hands, this may not be the solution you're after. But if you have strong hands, or you use maybe a rubber thimble to help you close the latch, this will help you avoid threading a needle in the traditional way. I have also seen other specialty needles. There are some that look like this. I suspect these will be easier to thread than a traditional needle, but I haven't managed to get my hands on one yet. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon.